guys, it's time for another cool collaboration. Today we go from Portland, Oregon, and we cross the big pond all the way to London for a cool collaboration with ABcreative. ABcreative, she's literally lighting up the fluid art world right now. She's just doing amazing videos on YouTube, and also Instagram is where I saw her at first. She has a huge following on Instagram. She is an art teacher and she makes these amazing tutorials that are really easy to follow, very beautiful work. It's just a joy to watch her, and her videos are exquisitely edited and her art is beautiful. She does a lot of different techniques, especially fluid techniques, but the first one that caught my eye was this goldfish, a chain pulled goldfish that she did. Isn't that gorgeous? And then she did a butterfly chain pull, and I thought, that might be fun to try. And she did it on a dry canvas. I wanted to hear what she had to say about this technique.
Hello guys, this is ABcreative. Well, it's been great fun doing this collab with Heather and learning some new techniques. I'm sure she's going to do an amazing job doing the chain butterflies, but I'm not so sure that my balloon rolls will look any good.
So she's gonna do my balloon rolls and I'm gonna do her chain pull butterfly on a dry canvas. And I thought, why does it have to be a plain canvas? What if it's a painting? And I can somehow figure out how to let the underpainting shine through to the top. So that was my goal for this project. The first thing I wanted to do was find a butterfly that I could look at. So I tried to find one, I just did a search, and I tried to find one that had some of the same colors that were already in my painting. And I found a pretty one that I thought would be simple enough to draw. I'm not a great drawer, so I thought, okay, that's kind of in the position that I imagine it to be on this canvas, and it has some of the same colors. So I just took a white pencil and did some really basic, don't laugh, some really basic drawing, and I mean basic. That's the best I could do. Added a few more little details. And then this is the part I was thinking, instead of using paint, maybe I could use a layer of Floetrol, so some of those pretty parts that are already on the painting would come through. So that was a challenge to try to figure out if that would work or not. This is a total test, and honestly something that ABcreative, I haven't seen her use Floetrol, but she did say it does help if the background is a little bit wet, so the chain will pull. So I decided to use Floetrol, and that's the reason. And she also had some other really great tips and tricks for chain pulling.
The first chain butterfly that I saw was made by designer Gemma77, but to be honest, I'm not sure who was the first person who invented the technique. Anyway, so these are my tips for the chain butterflies. First of all, don't put too much paint, because when you're dragging your chains, you don't want the paint to accumulate and then you have a big puddle. Just like little drops of color, especially if you have a wet background. If you have too much of a build-up, then I suggest using a pipette, and you can sort of get rid of the little puddle quickly.
So I used her advice and I tried to put just very thin lines of paint around my outline. I used pink and red. I used a little black and gray for the body, some white, and periwinkle made an appearance in there, as well as some turquoise blue. So the center I put more Floetrol, which in retrospect I think I overdid it just a little bit. But ABcreative had a lot more to say that was really helpful in producing beautiful lines.
If you have a wet background and you want your butterfly wings to be sort of more feathery and the edges not so even, I suggest putting the chain outside and then dragging in. This way you'll get some nice wispy edges. But if you want just a straight black line, put your chains into your black paint.
So I took her advice and decided to make some clean lines. Since the background was dry, I thought it would be a good idea to pull it from the outside paint line, and it did give some cool effects, and at the same time you can see I am not quite as delicate as she is or exact. I find this technique to be a little bit frustrating. It's so exacting. It requires a lot of dexterity, and my hands shake a little bit, so I also found it to be challenging. And like I said, I haven't had it work out for me very often, and at this point I still was not that excited. But remember that the white that you see in there is mostly not white, it's mostly Floetrol, so my hope is that it's going to dry clear and reveal all of the beautiful patterns that are underneath the butterfly wings. So that was my hope. I just wanted to add a little bit more movement. So then I allowed the painting to dry for 24 hours, and in the morning you could see it was still a little cloudy. Some of the beautiful patterns were coming through, but there was a lot of white there still, so I was not sure. I just had to cross my fingers and hope that the environment would warm up a little bit. It's pretty chilly in my house, and so I was hoping that it would warm up a bit and eventually reveal all those patterns. When it did finally clear, I decided I wanted to continue to enhance some of those beautiful lines. So I use these Arteza white gel pens. I love these pens, you guys. I used them in my last video. They're very smooth, even on canvas. I had no trouble with them. I really like them a lot. So I began to embellish some of the lines and just add some little fun details to make it more interesting. I went around the base, the outside of the butterfly, and also just kind of went through some of the lines in the background, the underpainting, and enhanced those. And I really, really liked the way it looked at the end. It just brightened up the whole painting. Look at that. I love that part. It's one of my favorite parts. And I just thought it just made this butterfly really special and kind of pop. So I was pretty happy with that. Now, the second thing I knew I needed to do is a little bit of embellishments for the background. So I pulled out my Daco paintbrushes. I really like this set. It's in the description box, as all my supplies are, if you're interested. So I used them to embellish the body a little bit. I wanted to bring that body out. So just some little white lines, and then I needed to do something with the background. It was just too black. So that's water, you guys. If you ever are trying to figure out what to do on a canvas but you don't want to ruin it, just dip your paintbrush in water, and it can help give you an idea where you might want to place some things. It just evaporates, usually, and then it's just a great way to make decisions without being permanent about them. So I just used the water to kind of determine where I wanted some of those embellishments to go. Now, I learned by watching Sandra Lett to put a layer of white down first, and that's so smart when you're working especially on a dark canvas. I would have had to put a lot of colors, a lot of layers of green on there, but because I put that one layer of white down, it just kind of provides a neutral base tone. So I did that, and then like a crazy person decided I should string pull the leaves. So that's what I decided to do, and oh my gosh, it was way harder than I expected. Sorry about my hands in the way, but I just find this whole string pull thing to be quite tedious, and I love the beautiful effects, but I thought, okay, I should string pull the body now, and now that I've done all that embellishment, of course you don't want to mess up, so there's quite a lot of pressure doing a string pull over a painting that you have already spent a lot of time working on, but you know, that's what makes me a moster. I really like that body though. I thought it turned out really pretty, and I'm really glad I did it. And so at the end I added the antennas and the eyes, and I'm pretty happy with this painting, and I think the only thing that would make it better is a coat of resin. So that's what I decided to do. The first thing you're going to want to do is measure the inside of the frame and find a piece of cardboard. Now you just take those measurements and cut a piece of cardboard the same size, maybe a little tiny bit bigger than the inside of the frame. So excuse me to the Priority Mail Service for using their cardboard box, but that's the only one I had that day. And then you just cut it to size and you put it in the back of your canvas. You want to do this to support the canvas because the resin is really heavy. You'll notice I've also taped the sides of my canvas. Now, that little notch I cut out, it makes it easier to get that cardboard in and out of the canvas there. And you want to make sure it's not poking the canvas, but that it's nice and snug and secure in there like that. That just provides that little support that your canvas might need for the resin. I'm using my favorite resin, which is the Artist Resin by Counterculture DIY. There is a discount code in the description box if you're interested, and I love this resin because I'm not allergic to it, and I am really sensitive to a lot of other resins. So this resin, I love the way it finishes, and it's easy to use. I put 50 mils of part A and 50 milliliters of part B into a cup, and then you have to stir and stir for 3 minutes or a little bit more, and no less, and make sure to wear your ventilator because all resin is toxic, so don't forget to protect yourself. So what I like to do is put the resin in the center and then pop the air bubbles with a torch. We incorporated a lot of air by all that stirring that we did. So we want to make sure to get those air bubbles out of there. Otherwise they will occlude the beautiful clear glass-like finish that makes resin so fun when it's done. I just use my hands to spread it out. You know, the preparation part of resin and taking all of the steps one by one helps you succeed. Taping the sides, shoring up the bottom, making sure that you mix your resin for a full 3 minutes, popping the air bubbles, taking time to pick out lint or dust or hair or anything that you might see that has gotten into the resin, and then covering your resin and storing the piece at the right temperature, you know. So all of those things can make resin really fun and easy to use, and the results are, you know, unlike anything else, very pretty. Now after all that, I still had to do another coat, and the reason why was because I had my air purifier running, and it was the first time I've ever had it running right next to my station, and it just blew little bits of dust that I couldn't see into my resin coat. So to fix that, you take a really fine sandpaper. I have it wrapped around a sanding block right here, and you just rough up the surface of the dried and cured resin. Now it might look like I'm pressing down hard here, but I'm actually not. This is a really, really light and gentle process, and I make sure that I'm going over any of the spots that have dust or dimples or any imperfections at all. And I'm making sure I'm getting those spots, and then wipe off your surface completely so none of that dust gets into your second coat, because that would be a disaster. So it's also helpful to do resin near sunlight. A sunlit window really works. Even under studio lights, it's really hard to tell on the surface if you see any little pricks, little pin pricks that mean something is, you know, on the surface, like dust or hair. So I really recommend doing it in daylight. So this is still wet and I cannot wait to show you the dried result. But first, we want to check in with ABcreative one last time and hear what she has to say.
Thank you so much for having me, Heather, and I hope you guys are all enjoying this collaboration. Thank you and bye-bye.
You gotta go over to ABcreative's channel and check out her balloon rolls. I gave her some great tips and tricks on making her balloon rolls beautiful, so I can't wait to see what she did with hers, and you have to go check that video out too. Now, finally, the final piece. I'm so excited about this piece because it was experimental, and I just look at all those transparent layers coming through. It just makes so much depth in this piece and so bright, and I really love the look. Now, if you love this channel, you can support this channel. There's a lot of ways, like shopping in my Amazon store or leaving a PayPal tip. Those are always appreciated, and I hope you know that I appreciate each and every one of you who watch. Look at that wing. If you haven't, please subscribe and leave a comment. You can always share. That's a couple ways to support your favorite artists. This was a fun and challenging collab. I'm glad I did it, and if you love this painting, it can be yours. You can always buy art from your favorite artists. This one is available, heathermaderart.com, or you can just contact me. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to make more beautiful art videos just for you. Thanks, guys, and have a beautiful and blessed day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit all notifications so I can make more art videos just for you.